Hi everyone, Curtis here from Goth Rider Creations, and in today's episode we're going to carry on carrying on building this guitar. Stay tuned. So today we're just going to carry on cracking on really. We've got to do a little bit of work thickening the neck. Now it's supposed to be between 22 and 26 mil with the fretboard. Now, I did actually take a little bit of advice from Ben Crow on his live stream, and he suggested that basically I should make it as thick as I possibly can. With it being balsa wood, with it being as soft as it is, me, along with everyone else, is still quite concerned about it breaking. So his suggestion was to go as thick as 35 mil, get it strung up, get it to tension, and then start whittling away at it after the fact, and then see how thin we can go. If it ends up with a thick neck, it ends up with a thick neck. I don't see this being played all that often. It's not going to be a gigging guitar, it's not going to be crazily played. This is more of a can it happen, can it work? So I'm going to start off by revisiting the neck. I'm going to add another layer to the back so I can go 3 layers thick. With the fretboard on top of that, that should make it way thicker than it needs to be, and then we can kind of dial back from there, see what we can do. So first job, get that glued in. So that will do it for now. So we've got the extra layers in there. I did try and stagger the joins there as much as I could. I wish I'd gotten rid of the pencil marks before I'd sanded it. That might cause an issue for final finish, but we'll see how we go. But yep, so that is now a lot thicker, way thicker than it needs to be, so at least we've got a chance now. So, next job is we're going to thicken up the truss rod axis, truss rod slot, I suppose, and then we are going to start routing out the spots for the stiffening rods. Okay, lesson to us all. I've not done this before, and I have watched so many people building guitars, and every single one of them, oh, make sure you use a template. Always use a template. Never do anything without a template. If you route without a template, the world will end. And I kept thinking to myself, how hard is it? It's a router. You know, I'm using a Dremel, so it's like low powered and not very big. So I always thought that people were kind of over-egging it a little bit too much, and it's like, it's not that hard, it's a router. How hard is it to freehand? Yeah, you saw that. So yes, this thing officially looks like a dog's dinner, on a scale of dog's dinner. Can I help you? Can I help you, small cat? This is Lucifer, everyone. She's a bit of a nightmare, but she's very cute. Down. So yeah, anyway, this thing looks awful. I have completely mangled this. It looks like, well, it looks like she's been chewing on it. But it's not the end of the world. It will be hidden by the fretboard, and with the process I'm going to be using, it doesn't actually matter if it's not 100% perfect. Now, the process I'm going to be using, and granted it goes against all the advice I've been given, but I am going to make my own stiffening rods. They are going to be carbon fibre, and we've already started that here, but I can't get the size I need. So let's see if we can explain this a bit better. Now, I took a lot of advice on this because I've never used carbon fibre stiffening rods before. And I spoke to a number of people, and a lot of people gave me some really great advice. Ben Crow, Crimson Guitars, Todd from Sweet Tea Guitars, Spike from Spike's Frugal Fixers, Rab Knox from Outlaw Guitars. A lot of people gave me some really good advice, and they told me where I should get these from. Now the problem is, stock standard, normal carbon fibre stiffening rods generally come in 4mm by 7mm sizes, and that is way too small for what I need. What I've routed out here is approximately 7mm to 10mm. Now granted, I could get 2 and then turn them on their side and then drop them in the hole, but then I would need 4 stiffening rods for this, and looking online, the cheapest I would be able to get that, I'd be looking in excess of between £40 and £60. Now, I'm hoping to build this entire guitar for that price range. Now, if this was a high-end show guitar or some kind of crazy build, then I would consider it. At the end of the day, quality comes with a price tag. This is an experiment, and I am not spending that kind of money for something that could still snap in half. So, I'm going to try and make my own. Now, thankfully, because of my previous life within the prop side of things, I have some materials that will work. And first of all, we are going to be using this. This is a sheet of 0.5mm thick twill carbon sheet. Now this, well, it sounds a little bit Australian. This is, well, it was a sample piece from a racing manufacturer, and it got damaged. There's a little bit of surface scratching on there, so it couldn't be used as a facing panel for an interior. So instead, it came into my possession. Now, as you can see, I have cut things out of it in the past, but this whole sheet, it should be more than enough to fill out the internal channel. And what I've also done, because of the mess I've made of these channels, I have lined the bottom with this stuff. Now this is actually quite specialist. This is, and let me get this right, this is a carbon aramid Teflon hybrid fabric. Now this was used up until a few years ago for making bulletproof body armour. I think in recent years it started to be used for the hypercar market and for racing teams for making high temperature, high abrasion resistant parts for race cars. But this stuff is actually very hard to get hold of, and one day I'll probably tell the story of how I got hold of this stuff, because it's very, very cool. Now what I've done is I've cut a couple of strips of that, and I have inlaid it in here. So we've already got 2 strips of that laid in the bottom, and then what I'm going to do is, with that dead straight all the way across the bottom, I'm going to then cut the slices of the carbon, and then I'm going to inlay them vertically into the slot with some epoxy resin, and then that will fill up the entire channel, and that will make it ultra strong. That fabric alone would probably do the trick. I could probably cut a few layers of that and get that in there, but with using different kinds of materials stacked at different levels, same as what I've done with the timber, that should make it even stronger than any carbon rods that are available on the market. So what we're going to do now is laboriously cut out loads of little strips of carbon fibre and get them glued in here. Oh, and while I'm at it, I have mentioned a few people that have been helping me out with advice and support on this, which has been brilliant. I would also like to say an absolutely massive thank you to Scott over at Bonehead Guitars. He has created an entire playlist of everyone who has entered into the Great Guitar Build-Off this year. Yeah, Scott has done an amazing job, and I think it is almost exclusively thanks to him that so many people have managed to find my videos. So thank you very much, man, and I'm loving your build. It is beautiful. And for the people that were questioning the amount of super glue I've been using in this, hi Bill, we're using Pound Shop epoxy resin for this one. So yeah, dollar store epoxy resin. It's fast setting, it does exactly the same as all of the high-end, you know, Araldites or whatever else. It does the same job, so yeah, cost saving, people. so that's that done. I've got all the carbon fibre is now cut, glued in. I'm going to leave that overnight, even though it's 5-minute epoxy. I want to make sure that's absolutely sorted. From there, I'm going to then sand the whole top of it. I'm going to do that outside because we all know what carbon fibre dust can do to you. So we're going to get all of that completely flat. I've also glued in the additional strips along the side of the truss rod, so that's now sitting perfectly flush. So that's that all sorted. So once we've got the sanding done, then we can use a little bit of silicone, get the truss rod in there, and then the neck should theoretically be ready to start work on the fretboard. You know what? I think we'll leave it there for today. Temperature's starting to get a little bit warm. I mean, not as bad as Jackson's workshop apparently. Hey, big unit. But yeah, I think I'm done. Managed to get out in the garden. We've got all of that sorted out. So truss rod is now in. Carbon is now sanded flush. So we are all good, and we are dead sorted. Oh, I don't know if you're going to see, but other than the wood that I've sanded off because of, you know, balsa, we are actually dead on. So I'm calling that sorted. Next episode we will get on with making the fretboard. I'm a sucker for punishment, and yeah, so thank you very much for watching. If you haven't already, please subscribe, it always helps. And yeah, I'll see you all on the next one. Take care, everyone.